Earlier this year, I started collaborating with and contributing to a great group of people that grew out of the Ethereum space, Web3 privacy, and I'd like to introduce my good friend and colleague, Mykola, who's going to be talking about our right for privacy.
Hello. A little bit in sync with Jared's talk that I was sort of surprised that no one talked here about AfD and what's happening in German politics, but pay close attention. That's also the area we should think about. One disclaimer, I will skip privacy is normal, Samurai and Tornado cache cases because many people in the community are well known with them. And I think my talk today will be centered a lot on emotions because the way social media navigates our space is hyper-emotional, hyper-reactionary. And I want to start with a super simple definition that I found out some time ago, that majority of privacy-focused communities are hyper-reactionary. And if you will follow sentiment of what's going on or what people talk about, it's sort of gloom and doom communication. They will surveil us, rip Tor, get out of signal, etc., etc. And it's really hard to flourish and build communities of trust and communities of mutual help when you're surrounded by people who are always alarming, and they're always throwing tweets with the breaking. And post-COVID mentality or post-COVID emotional state is not that perfect within the people in general. And I think that when we are over-focusing on sort of negative sentiment, it's really hard to move forward. One second note that within the maximalist scenario, sometimes we over-project that one tool is a silver bullet that will help to solve all the issues. Well, in reality, privacy is a stack and way bigger than sometimes you think about. Sometimes it's a bunch of open source tooling that are complementary to your privacy solution. Here an example from Ben West, who shared with us lots of his personal tooling, his personal stack. One another reference is Pavel Luptak's website personal, like what kind of tooling Cypherpunk used. And in majority of cases, sometimes you or I, we depend on Taiwan chips. And it's not about just one software. And it's important because the way we personally in our collective address privacy or address any community, we start from how we can help each other and collaborate with each other. Also, I found a bit reactionary that many people are still stuck with the concept of cypherpunk that originated, like, I don't know, 3 decades ago, and they still talk like with these Wikipedia cliches, when in reality, many people that you would think of as OG cypherpunks, they go and fundraise from Alameda. They go and they make pitch decks, and they do pitch to VCs they hate. Because sometimes maybe inside of these venture capitalist companies, there are people with link-minded people, but they cannot tell you straight in the face that they're also hardcore pirates. And it would be much more honest and much more helpful if we start to not be naive or too romantic, but encourage what's happening around. And yesterday we were talking about cypherpunk culture, about privacy on speaker's dinner, and Mateusz told me about this book. And I really love the concept of creating noise, because when I worked in NIM for almost a year, one of the concepts why MixNet supposedly would be efficient is because the algorithm adds constantly noise to the system, so it's really hard to surveil, or it's much more costly to surveil on you. And the book suggests that you can apply this obfuscation tactic to your daily life. You can fake add algorithms, you can fake identities, you can spam the system with like a random content, and I really find this helpful to what we do. Because what we do in the broader senses, we used lots of the tactics to encourage developers, to encourage builders, come up with the next generation of privacy tech. And with that generation, and the fundraising for that new privacy tech, I know people from the smallish, marginalized communities to the larger crypto ecosystem would benefit from, for example, the next generation of storage that Locus team is building under the Codex umbrella. And one important point here, that traumas sometimes enacts us to do things. The same as war in Ukraine helped me to sort of do stuff. The Tornado Cash encouraged many people who would otherwise do some DeFi events, focus more on privacy cases. And I'm kind of happy that this happened, because that's an irony of life. Unless you are punched in your face, you would pretend that nothing happens and you would make things for fun. And in Rome, the community now is doing one of the few privacy hackathons. And if you would think about and you would try to calculate how many dedicated privacy hackathons not facilitated by specific company exist in the world, you will be kind of like, I know, the industry should be ashamed, because there should be much more, and it should be embedded, it should be by default. So what we are doing at this moment, and there are some familiar faces for some of you, we try to make a sort of like, again, full stack approach to events. For example, we are thinking that privacy right now needs more fresh talents from outside the industry that will bring new ideas to the game. For example, we have people who build global leagues, and we connect whistleblower platform, like traditional Web2 whistleblower platform, with Web3 developers who can play around it. Why we are doing this? Because on ETH Berlin, on other hackathons, I've seen young people, 18 years old, coming with the new whistleblower platforms, like WikiLeaks 2.0, WikiLeaks 3.0. And they need, when we connect them with human rights advocates or like developers from Tor who passed this journey, we're connecting generations, talents that could be complementary to each other. Then, for example, with our meetup, we have people like Andrea from Monero community, who talks greatly about the culture, philosophical implication of crypto and anarchism as life. But at the same time, we have Jaromil from Dyn.org, who is OG hacktivist and who can really and who also started Cryptographic Association in Italy. They are really complementary to each other. And when a young person new to privacy is coming to these events, they would understand that it's something bigger going on there. And last but not least, the Privacy Builder Pack. I think, because I was judging those hackathons, many developers doesn't know what to build. Moreover, in many cases, they try to tackle these grandiose use cases. Like, for example, now I will fix Turkish voting process with one solution, instead of dedicating their effort, their dev hours into building something smallish, but much more practical for your daily use. One of these simple examples was that in Berlin in May, the people who built a private calendar, they built a tool that people could use daily. One comment here for us, we use this hackathon as the place when we can meet people who are building really interesting solutions. For example, Marius worked with Filecoin or radical archiving. Radical archiving in that sense means that when there's a police brutality or war crimes, you store these videos or these documents online and protecting from censorship. And that's an interesting use case that will protect many communities in play. Or Anturo, who is doing internet monitoring or internet censorship, is complementary to our ecosystem. And what's important here is to go beyond just traditional smallish crowd, whenever it's a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero, and look around you with what people you can connect and build bigger social teams around privacy. We really want and we really feel that we owe many hacktivists from the first generation who paved the way for us to flourish. For example, Seabase is one of the first hacktivist places in the world. There are many wonderful things happen there. And we hosted event there, and for us important not just to connect with those old hackers, but also try to understand how we can collaborate with each other. Because there's a clear big generational gap. There's a clear big visionary gap. There's a clear difference in how people manifest each other, and this gap will widen, and we need to address it here and now. And also one of the important things for us is to bring also legal discussion to the table, because after Tornado Cash, finally or suddenly, developers need to understand how law works and what they could do when they publish code, or what are the other ways to avoid the future imprisonments. Again, the privacy is a bit populist industry in the sense that many, Janos here from L2, from Bitcoin Layers knows this, that many protocols still, or projects, they fake true identity of decentralization, and maybe years will pass since we reach the point when many L2s will be L2s on Bitcoin. The same happens with privacy. For example, there are many projects fundraising, promising you cutting-edge privacy, like fully homomorphic encryption, but then you go and try to check if their privacy features are attested. If someone proved them, there's no privacy audits. There's no security audits that can attest that what they promise in marketing is what the end user will benefit from. And what has been promised to VCs can really be delivered to end user. So what we are doing, we are trying to sort of refine the market at the same time. We are building a dashboard for privacy that will help to track everything what's going on at the market, but at the same time to keep them attested, to keep them accountable within their promises. This is a project called Explorer, when we try to understand how we can score privacy projects against each other, how we can measure their privacy efficiency, the privacy delivery, and how we can create a new standards for the market. So the next time, the next generation of builders will be much more responsible and conscious of not just what they build, but how they ship the privacy for the end users. In that sense, it's a long profiling where projects can report to the users, and you can think of this as a Messari, but free for privacy, and later it will scale beyond just the privacy market. What's important here that we want to automate the data collection, and it's chaos because every project stores the data in a different way. Every project highlights the state of their privacy features or technology features, again, in a different way. Sometimes it's really hard. You can spend hours by trying to find if the protocol is on mainnet, the application has been launched or not. And it's a burden if you need to compare like 500 or 700 projects between each other. One important thing here that this industry is full of marketing claims. For example, when it's related with AI, many people maybe here even are testing or already tested Venice AI, and we're super happy that there's permissionless AI has been promised to you, but they never read privacy policy. And that's one of the simplest facts or steps you can take to understand what's happening with the privacy behind the projects you like. And Venice AI has lots of horrible embedded data collection techniques that they don't really need to have to be really legit in terms of the communication with the users. And this leads us to the privacy feature-centric audit that we conceptualize at the moment to understand how and what kind of reporting agencies, so we ourselves, that's a big question mark, should do to not just, let's say, audit smart contract, not just audit the chain state, but also the whole privacy feature, starting from what kind of data is collected, how data is stored, whom data is transmitted, what kind of third parties are involved, and currently no one is doing this type of audits. So basically you're all alone, or you're with these smallish communities, you are sort of in an echo chamber of they will gonna surveil us, they collect everything about us without a useful tool to process. Many companies or many people from, I don't know, from Google to Web3 Foundation, Web3C try to approach the data collection and automate privacy policy. Many other data collection tools never properly succeeded. Let's see if the next gen feature will appear with the help of us. Also, it's interesting that like we launched privacy-proof smallish activation last year, and we understood that at this market there's no, one second, I think I missed a slide. No. At this market, people cannot get easily information. What are the privacy tools that exist at the market? What Amir Taki from DarkFi is using today? What Michael Parenti is using, and what kind of tools they recommend me to enhance my privacy. And we thought that just the basics checkups each year on what's happening in privacy, what tools and researchers, or in this case, doxers, are the ones to follow, will help, will extend a bit of research, will increase amount of consciousness with the people manifesting privacy. So we made this sort of words simplified between like 100 experts, like a tested pilot. We really like that among the projects and really among the conscious choices on the privacy side, we could really foster some innovations so that people could go and check the latest new concepts that has been developed within the privacy, I don't know, from privacy pools to caches and other stuff, and also go beyond just the buzzwords, go beyond just normal, useful services, but also try to read papers on privacy. Try to go and, linking with the cypherpunk spirit, go and read some papers that will enhance cryptography of the future protocols or solutions. Also, I think that hacktivist culture is a bit neglected within the young people because, I mean, not everyone is a Snowden in the room, and they should start somewhere. And if they don't know what kind of tools to do, we've done this for ETH Berlin a bit, and now we expanded. We think that people can, the more they play with privacy ideas, the better it will be for them to just build something from scratch. And now we are like collected, let's say, ideas from, I don't know, 50, 60 privacy experts that many of you know, from DarkFi to NIM. And we think that if the developers will build tools that experts suggest, or they will explore the new tools, you would see that the next generation of privacy tools will be much more efficient and better. The whole idea originated from a simple data-driven approach that we needed to collect all the privacy solutions that has been built within the hackathons and then structure them in the useful database and ship it to the builders so they won't build the same tools again and again and again. Because I'm, as a judge, I'm a bit tired of looking at the next voting solution for a non-existing problem, while you can enhance already built tooling. But it requires us to be much more conscious on what's happening within the privacy builders landscape. At the same time, some years ago, we've done really simple tooling. I went and checked the lean model canvas and adjusted to privacy, because I think that privacy developers should be nurtured along the way, and you should give them sort of viable example, because sometimes when they build privacy solutions, again, for example, for voting, they don't think even what data they are collecting, how they are collecting, how they're transmitting data, what kind of regulations exist, because they're just not that conscious. And within those frameworks, we can always tell about the old school Cambridge Analytica cases, or how data brokers works, maybe because the next solution or the value proposition behind their hackathon or a post-hackathon product journey would tackle these cases. Alongside data, it's really important to share that the threat actors within the privacy are complex, they are different. Sometimes they're just black hats. Sometimes they're not even governments. just scammers. So you can build a privacy solution that will protect people from smallish, but also tangible and easy to transmit case. Maybe you're fundraising, and it will be way easier or way clever to tackle privacy through black hats or scammers or crypto scams than to say that you will dismantle the government. Yeah, and education here helps to navigate the space. Within this cypherpunk, it's interesting that we've seen and we thought that beyond Wikipedia, we can go and expand the narration, and we can help people feel that they are starting the journey with the cypherpunk, and one day maybe they can be like a Timothy May or Assange, but they should start with something. And we try to say that cypherpunk approach is a journey and not the given state that one day you receive. We have this small reference. I've used it in NIM for quite a while. Tor persona, Tor has an open research page, go and check, they publish personas. It's a basic, not that rocket science example, typical for UX, UI, or product teams, when you try to do cast dev and understand better the audience. And sometimes we miss in our talks what kind of audience will benefit the privacy, because the privacy spectrum is wider. One audience are like human rights activists in Iran under the mortal danger, and another is like a person who tried to avoid paying taxes, for example. Totally different type of the privacy they need. And that's when we are coming bit by bit with the personas for cypherpunks. We are saying that you can start by just being interesting in a subject, but if you're not technically enough and you're not technically proficient, you can contribute to the movement with your soft skills, with your different type of product skills, and not every cypherpunk is just a coder. And this will help the industry make it much more inclusive, open, and if you will remember my second slide with the cypherpunk road code, it will be complementary for those people who will eventually write code. And we are on the way to mapping what kind of skills people should develop, especially because the world changed. Their social media is super active, and sometimes people who are building solutions that will enhance privacy in the future need to care about their body, mind, physical state, collaboration, social studies. Because once you just dedicate your time to learning polynomials, maybe you're missing something important within how to cope with people, how to build communities of trust, and how to, and that's where I'm saying that within the anonymous engineering, for example, one of the biggest challenges is that how you will help developers build products, because they need to go public to build products and to collaborate with users. And that's when it's not enough to be just the, I don't know, introvert, to stay at home, to learn cryptography, to talk about the next-gen messengers. Because if you install simplex messenger, but you're alone there, it doesn't make any sense. Even if it's better, it provides convenient privacy. Jared is here. Logos was our first partner that supported our mission. We decided that we are not alone, and just by collaborating with many organizations, we can create the privacy stack. Otherwise, we will be fragmented. We won't share the data. We won't collaborate with each other, and that we will be isolated while solving the same issues. Now we have many members who are supporting us, and the numbers is growing and growing. The model is they're our members, so they don't intervene of what we do. Instead, we collaborate with each other, especially when it's needed within the educational track, when it's needed within the, for example, Gnosis highly needs the privacy for validators, but at the same time, they're launching a VPN. Many privacy-focused companies understood that they need a tangible product, so the token would work. And then we can think about or talk about how the consumer privacy, infrastructural privacy should be complementary to each other. Yeah, and we work with foundations on the research side because, for example, for Zcash Foundation, I was interested how Zcash can be used with Ukrainian-Russian war, like widening the use cases and showing that you can empower religious groups, you can empower people on occupied territories, you can use a secure messenger like status within the LGBTQI communities, or you can support a military regiment, and these things are sort of expand what privacy is at the moment. 30 seconds. We have individual membership that helps to connect one-on-one relation with people. Also, we care about the visual style because world changes, lots of many visual people around, they need a different cultural fit, and we think this is super important. Within the collective action, we reach, I don't know, almost 100 speakers, more than 200 contributors on GitHub. We want to be as flat as possible. We want our events to open source almost everything of what we can do. We are also sort of proud that from David Chaum to Rachel Rose O'Leary could be at one stage, and we can eliminate this generational gap, and we can show that solidarity is possible within the privacy, that ecosystem is the way, that it's not enough just do one tool, but you need to complement it with the education, with the fostering of privacy builders that will enhance your solution and use your data. And we are doing Cypherpunk Congress in DevCon in November. Lots of familiar faces here. For me, it's important that there's Guantanamo detainees, attorneys, and at the same time, there are people who care about ecological crisis, but at the same time, people care about specific use cases like Iranian cause, or the people who care about, let's say, martial arts and how the Asian martial arts could help you to be more conscious and aware of where you are and being less distracted. A few more slides. One of the important things, we think that privacy is a moral issue, and it's on the shoulders of everyone, how to collaborate with each other, how to help each other to be that bigger stack we were talking about in the future, because too many people think about cryptography as a fun, playful exercise for scaling, while they're completely forgetting privacy and more tangible and more anti-surveillance applicability beyond the cryptography and beyond the role of engineer, beyond the role of scientists who could contribute to the cause. Also, we're super happy that privacy becomes more diverse. There are more people from different geographies. You would be surprised, but recently many Chinese people approached us and asked, can you add cypherpunk narration to us? We know that sort of legal framework is a bit sketchy, but we would like privacy builders or builders in China contribute more to privacy issues, and they speak different language, but they are sitting in the same room, or they're political professors from Turkey who can comment on the current Erdogan implementations of the data aggregation politics on site, and these working groups collaborate and expand the way we feel privacy. And I think that for us right now, it's way more important to talk about positive privacy in that sense, to come into agreement that we need to collaborate with each other. That's why I try to oppose in the flow of Timothy Snyder's latest book on freedom, that positive freedom is way better than the negative freedom from, because within the positive freedom, and here positive privacy, you can take responsibility over communities, over group discussion, over the messages you transmit, and empower way bigger audience in that sense. And obfuscate, try to create a noise, but don't forget to collaborate with many builders, projects, sometimes even VCs around, because that will lead to creation of the bigger privacy footprint. Thanks.
I find it hard to even come up with a question myself, and I think that you covered things really extensively. This is my challenge and my offer to people in the Bitcoin space is to question and interact with this man very directly. He's an incredible wealth of knowledge, and it's something that I think is incredibly important as the layer 2s move on to Bitcoin, and we're in this area of privacy. There's a huge, huge amount of experience that Ethereum has front-run that would be necessary for how it is that we're architecting and moving forward into the future. Nick, it's such a pleasure and an honor to have you here and have you as a colleague.
Thank you.